This is the 2022 Honda Pilot Special Edition, and it's best described as having a very comfortable ride quality and a very comfortable and roomy interior. The interior is also versatile with all sorts of clever storage spaces throughout. It also gets better fuel economy than many of its rivals. I borrowed this 2022 Honda Pilot Special Edition from my friends at Holmes Honda here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And here's a little hint for you. If you want to buy this exact model, check out the link down in the description of this video. And when you go into the dealership, tell them that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you their way. Let's talk about exactly what you can expect to find if this is something you wish to buy. If you're saying, Tom, what's new for 2022 with the Pilot? Well, the LX and EX trim levels have been dropped for the 2022 model year. Other than that, you're still getting all the same great features, functionality, and 7 exterior colors, including this great looking Sonic Gray. Some people like it, some people don't. Tell me what you think down in the comments about this Sonic Gray exterior color. Here on the front end, you will find LED headlights, LED fog lights, auto on-off high beams, and if you want to, you can set the lighting to all come on automatically when it gets dark enough to do so. There are multiple options for that depending on what you want. You will also find Honda Sensing, Honda's safety suite of driving aids such as adaptive cruise control, road departure mitigation, lane keeping assist, all of that, it's all here. And it's all very effective. And while I know a lot of you are hoping for a hybrid powertrain to be made available eventually with these Pilots, as with other Honda models, keep telling Honda in the comments section about those desires that you have, because you're going to see it happen, I guarantee it. For now, it's the 3.5 liter V6. It puts out plenty of horsepower, 262 foot-pounds of torque, mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. And you can get this model in front-wheel drive, as this one is, or if you want, you can also get all-wheel drive. Now, for the most important question to be answered, MPGs, 20 miles per gallon city, 27 out on the highway, 23 combined. And according to Honda, per every 100 miles you drive, you should use 4.3 gallons of gas. And to bring that into a little bit better perspective, this Honda Pilot has a 19.5 gallon gas tank. And what about tire and rim size? This is a 245/50 tire, and that 50 series is the sidewall. That's what this represents right here. And that's good news because that means it's going to help with the ride quality. I talked earlier about how this Pilot has a comfortable ride quality. It's also riding on 20-inch rims right here. Depending on the trim level you get, you may have 18-inch rims or you might have these 20s. And before I show you anything else, I know a lot of you like to know about the remote, and you like to ask if it has remote start on the remote. And as you can see right there, yes, it does. Another thing that's commonly asked, are there turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors? Yes. These heated, power adjustable side view mirrors, but manually folding, no, they're not power folding in this case, do have the turn signal indicators built in. So an interesting thing that I find here is the fact not really that there's a sticker here that gives you instructions on how to use this hands-free tailgate, but the fact that it says down here at the very bottom, after reading, you're supposed to peel the sticker off. It kind of makes me wonder if yellow smoke is going to pour into the air, kind of, you know, Mission Impossible-like. But in the meantime, here's how you do it. It's very simple to use. And you are supposed to step back about 2 feet. I guess that way you don't wind up getting hit by the tailgate when it opens, but that reveals the cargo area. So what kind of cargo capacity do you have in Honda's 3-row SUV? And depending on how you set things up, you can lower these rear seats. You can also lower the middle row seats, or you can just lower these by themselves. And here are the numbers depending on how you set things up. 16 to 16.5 cubic feet and 82.1 up to 83.9. But that's not all I want to show you back here. In the event that you need to haul something that maybe is going to get the carpet dirty back here, the cool thing is that you can actually rotate this floor and turn it over. You have a carpeted side right here, or you can also face it the other way and have a plastic side. So that way you keep from dirtying up your carpet or anything along those lines. Just a nice little option to know about. There is plenty of storage space underneath here. And if you're wondering about the spare tire, you probably saw that earlier because I showed that in the undercarriage shot. And even though there's window tint on these windows, if that's not enough, there are shades that can be put in place by rear seat passengers on both doors. And there's room aplenty back here in the middle row seats. And you might wonder, well, what about the rear seating area? With these seats all the way back, yeah, it's a little bit cramped back there, but the good news is that you can move all the way up, but then you might be cramped, or whoever's sitting by here might be cramped. But hey, you have multiple options. They go a couple of different places. There's actually two different options. You have, well, three really. Right here, you can move it up one notch, or you can move it up one more. And maybe then the front seat passengers are gonna have to move up about 3 or 4. And back here in the rear, you also have multiple zones of climate control, including controlling everything in the rear from the rear of the console right here. So you can control fan speed and all that good stuff right here. You also have 2 USB ports back here, and there are cup holders everywhere. 2 right here on the door panel, 2 on that side. There's actually 2 more right here in the fold-down armrest, and even more in the rear for rear seat passengers. Not a lot of places to store food necessarily, but nobody's going thirsty here. And you also have a conventional size sunroof that you can see well from the middle row seat area. Tell Honda again down in the comments section if you would like to see a panoramic sunroof. And if you want to seem like you really know your Honda Pilot and somebody says, hey, what is the frame number of your Pilot? Don't be left scratching your head. Watching this video gives you the answer because it's on the passenger side floorboard area. I'm showing you right where it is under that little panel that you open up. Just in case anybody ever happens to ask. It could happen. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. What do we have here? Well, a very easy to use interior, very comfortable seating, power driver and passenger seats, only heated, unfortunately, at least here in the US. I wish they were ventilated, especially today. It's already about 95 degrees. It's hot. I could use that. Dual zone climate control, very easy to use functions and features here. And you even have the turn signal lever here. This is the special edition, so it has something special, the turn signal lever for you Shreveport drivers that don't have that option on your cars. When you push that into the up position, it means you're turning to the right or changing lanes to the right. And you push it into the down position for going to the left, doing the same things. And it actually lets people around you know what you're doing. I know that's a very novel idea, and I apologize. I don't mean to sound sarcastic towards those of you who can't afford that option on your cars. Maybe that'll change one day. And everything here is easy to use as far as the technology. Yes, it's okay to laugh. The technology very easy to use and very easy to learn if you've never had it before. The infotainment screen, super easy. You've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto there. If you wonder what is that, that means you can pair your smartphone and basically turn that screen into your phone. It's that easy to do. Wireless charging, you've got your push button shifter here. Some people like that, some people don't. That's really meant to be more of a space saver of sorts, and it does make it easier to reach across and grab your water bottle on nice hot days like this. I've got some cold water sitting there. Hey, Honda, maybe we should have some chilled or cooled cup holders in the future. I know that would add a lot of money to the price, but also you have the built-in armrests right here. What do you think about that? Would you like to see Honda maybe add some kind of a console that just sits up high enough where you can just rest your arm on there? Who knows? But the one thing I know a lot of you want to know about, well, there is one more thing I want to show you real quick, and I'm curious to know what you do with this. The conversation mirror up here, I'm showing you that on the screen right now. Do you use that when you're angry at your kids to show them your angry eyes? Well, whatever you do with it, I hope you don't use the conversation mirror when you're driving down the road. In fact, speaking of driving down the road, let's do a test drive and drive down the road, but I won't be using the conversation mirror during that time. And what about the driving experience? Well, there are multiple driving modes. I didn't really talk about that earlier in the video. You've got normal, you've got sport, you also have snow. If you're going to be driving a Honda Pilot in a lot of snow, you get a lot of snow where you live, I do highly recommend the all-wheel drive model. The all-wheel drive drivetrain is definitely going to be a better option than front-wheel drive. But If not, well, front-wheel drive will do just fine. But I do have to say, I'm very impressed. Even though 280 horsepower in this day and age does not sound like, well, a lot of horsepower, it does a great job of getting the Pilot down the road. No matter what mode you're driving in, you're going to be in good shape. It's going to get down the road, get from A to B, no matter what, without any trouble. Now, it would be nice, I have to admit, to drive a Pilot with a few more people in the vehicle, maybe a load of cargo in the rear, just to see how things go. Speaking of cargo, one thing I did not mention earlier, I don't think I mentioned towing capacity of the Pilot. Well, you can tow, according to Honda, between 500 pounds up to 5,000 pounds. I don't know that people are going to be towing 5,000 pounds with their Pilot, but that's what Honda says you should be able to do. Overall, the Pilot has great road manners. It handles very well. Obviously, the ride quality is very enjoyable, nice and smooth. The seating is comfortable, and I like the fact that you can have a situation like this where the ride quality is good, but it's not canceled out by uncomfortable seating or the other way around. You have good with both. The technology is easy to use, like I said earlier, or learn depending on what your situation is. Maybe you've never had technology like this vehicle has before. Don't be afraid of it. There are some out there that are definitely a lot harder to learn than this one. But, and speaking of but, hey, here's something I can tell you about. The brakes work well. Since we got hit by a red light right there and I needed to stop so we didn't get an accident on video. The brake pedal, I will say, does feel a little bit on the soft side until you need to hit the brakes, and that's kind of what I did right there. Unintentional brake test, but it worked out well. We'll get down the road here with a little bit of an acceleration test, and keep in mind, I'm in drive. Let me go into sport mode, and just like with any other vehicle, sport mode, well, it's going to depend on the vehicle to some extent, but basically what it's doing is allowing the transmission to bring the RPMs up higher. The engine RPM is going to go up higher at a quicker rate, and that's essentially the difference between those things. And of course, with some other vehicles, high performance vehicles, there's more to it than that, but that's the simplistic way to tell you about it. Overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive, easy to see out of. The safety features seem to be very well behaved. A lot of people talk about some of the features such as lane keeping assist maybe being a little overly aggressive. I haven't experienced that here. Maybe it's just because of the fact that I'm a good driver and I stay in my lane. So tell me down in the comments section, do you plan to buy a 2022 Honda Pilot? What trim level, what exterior colors? Tell me all about it. Or are you going to wait for 2023? I'm curious to know. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Holmes Honda for loaning me this Honda Pilot for the day. And say a special thanks also to all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out another of the videos that's on the screen right now. And I'll see you there.